Hello, today I'm joined by Dillon Browne. He is a part of the psychology faculty. Dillon, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Dillon Browne. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Psychology. I'm in the clinical division, so I am also a registered clinical psychologist in Ontario. And at the University of Waterloo, I hold the Canada Research Chair in Child and Family Clinical Psychology.
Awesome. And we'll just jump right into the questions. My first question is, what sparked your interest in psychology as a topic?
Yeah, so I was actually thinking about becoming an English teacher when I was in high school. And I also had the desire to pursue higher studies, like to go on and at least do a master's, if not a PhD as well. So I looked a little bit into what it looked like to do a PhD in English, and I decided that that wasn't going to be the best fit for me. So I thought about what most interested me about literature, and for me, it was character development. So kind of at the last minute, I applied to psychology on a whim, and I loved it immediately. My intro psych courses at the University of Guelph were fantastic, though I was still kind of unsure if I wanted to pursue psychology as a career. However, it was in my first winter semester, I took a developmental psychology course, and I found that absolutely fascinating. I thought it was so cool that you could ask questions like, why are siblings in the same family so different from one another? Um, and for me, that just was really cool because I found families interesting as well. You know, I came from a family, and we all have questions about our own families. So I never looked back after that.
Yeah, for sure. And moving on to the next question, could you describe one of the courses that you teach?
Yeah, so at the University of Waterloo, I teach an undergraduate course called Trauma, Families, and Resilience. And that's a really cool course because I got to design it from the ground up. So it didn't exist before I arrived at the University of Waterloo. And one of the things that has always irked me about undergraduate education in psychology is that undergraduates aren't really exposed to any clinical work. Maybe you get an upper year seminar in clinical psychology, but you don't actually get to see what therapy looks like. And I wanted to rectify the situation in this course, specifically with regard to family therapy. So, of course, because of confidentiality and privacy regulations, we can't expose undergraduate students to therapy with real clients. However, there's a model in medicine called the simulated patient. So early in medical school, medical students might be exposed to training with a patient who is actually an actor. So they're responding to the actor as if they were responding to the patient, and that is kind of a way to ease people into practitioner-client relationships. So I thought, okay, well, maybe we can do something like that at the University of Waterloo. And then I started thinking about, okay, well, where do we find actors? And, you know, we have a fantastic theater program at the University of Waterloo. So I contacted some folks in the theater department, and long story short, now in that course that I'm talking about, every time we run that course, we get several acting students to theatrically form into a family, and then I will conduct therapy with the made up family in front of the students, whether it's live in a kind of theater in the round format or virtually if we're offering the course online. So that way students are able to see what therapy actually looks like in an unscripted, super realistic fashion. As a therapist, it feels very real to me because I don't know the students beforehand, and then my only interactions with them are in their acting roles. And then that therapy serves as an applied source of material for the theoretical concepts that we're learning about in regard to trauma, families, and resilience, particularly in the context of clinical work. So I'm super excited about that course. We just got a grant to expand it, and I think it's growing in popularity. We've now offered it twice. The enrollment has significantly increased. So if you're watching this video, try to come out to my family course.
Yeah, for sure. And that's awesome to hear. And in a similar kind of note, would you like to describe a area of your research?
Yeah, so not surprisingly, since I came up with that course, my research is in a very similar domain. So broadly speaking, I'm interested in studying the social determinants of developmental health. What does that mean in a more lay language? That means I study environmental influences on how kids grow up. Those influences could be stressful life events, trauma, family relationships, or even things like digital media, the relationship between how kids grow up and the sorts of screens that they use and what they're using on those screens. I'm also interested in clinical intervention at the community and also within the clinic. So this could be evaluating psychosocial programs designed to support health and well-being in children and families who have experienced adversity. It could also be psychotherapy outcome type studies. So one kind of exciting project that we're working on right now is evaluating if we can do family therapy virtually. During the pandemic, a lot of mental health services have moved online, not surprisingly, during social distancing. After the pandemic, a significant portion of mental health services will remain online because there are things about it that people like, such as convenience. You can just log into your therapy session wherever you are. However, we don't have fantastic evidence around the efficacy and effectiveness of family therapy delivered virtually. So right now we're evaluating that, and spoiler alert, it looks like it does work. We need more rigorous studies and replication, though the early findings are quite promising.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to answer some of these questions so we can learn more about you. It was lovely meeting you and spending time with you.
My pleasure. Thanks for putting this together.
Thank you.